Let's talk about row level security in Azure SQL. So we can implement the row level security using filter predicate policy. And then code is something like this. We will be implementing the security policy at the filter predicate security. We can have implement a small function against the table. So this policy, row level policy, will be implemented. So I'm going to quickly demo using SSMS. I think it's going to be the same for all the SQL server management thing. So I'm going to create the database, row level security database, RL DB, and then I'm going to use that database quickly. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to create 3 user: manager, sales 1, and sales representative 2. So there will be 3 user without login. I created 3 user, and next I'm going to create the table, and I'm going to put some values there. So for that I'm going to create the schema, sales schema, and then I'm going to create the sales.order table. Once the sales and order table created, I'm going to insert 6 different value. Right here I have 3 value related to sales represent 2 and 3 value represent sales REP1. And the next I can see this result, table result. So this is what the result look like. And then the next I'm going to grant the select access for those user. So manager, sales 1, sales 2, these 3 user, I'm going to grant the access, select access. The next what I'm going to do is we are going to create the security schema, and then the security schema will create the function, one quick function, table valued function called TV of security predicate, and we have the sales representative as a parameter. And basically in this function, schema binding function, we will be returning 1 if sales rep user 1 matched or username as a manager matched, then 1 will return. So this is the small function we are going to create here in the schema. Then what we are going to do is, this is the important step, like we are creating this security policy, where security policy and add filter predicate. So security policy, create the security policy on sales filter, then add filter predicate on here on this table. The state is on. So I'm going to create the security policy quickly. And now, so what I have done, we have created 3 user, we have a table, and we also have function, and we also created the security policy. Now what we want to do is we want to grant the access for this user defined function for these 3 user as well. For manager, sales 1, salesman 1, and salesman 2, we'll give their select on access, select access on this function. So I'm going to do that. Once that's done, what I'm going to do is I'm going to execute select star from this query as a sales rep 1. As soon as I read the data as a sales rep 1, I will see only 3 result as a whoever sales rep 1 related data only, right? So I'm going to revert that query. It's going to be the same thing happen if I execute this query as a sales rep 2 and select star from order. Is going to return as only data related to the sales representative 2, only sales representative 2 result. And then I can revert this. And then if I want to change, if I want to run as a manager, I will be seeing all the result. Rep 1 and rep 2, all 6 result. So this is how this row level security. This is something called the row level security implement in database, Azure SQL or regular SQL. So this is all I want to share in this video, row level security, and this script will be available on Microsoft launch page as well about the row level. Let's talk about ownership chaining in database management system quickly. So ownership chaining is tricky concept when we are dealing with access and access management. So this is basically if one owner owns 2 of the product or 2 or more product object like table and views, and you provide the access to the views, only to the view, the user may get access to the product because of one owner own both of these objects. So this is concept called the ownership chaining. And let me quickly demo how this really works in SQL. So let me directly jump into the SQL Management Studio. I'm going to create the ownership chaining database here. Then I'm going to use that database, and I will be creating user 1 and user B, user A and user B without login. I have 2 users. I'm going to have user schema. I'm going to create this schema through the user A. So from now, what I'm going to do is user A will create all the object including schema. So user A create the schema. User A also create the table, let's say, and user A table has some two data, and let me create the view for user A. So in this view, we have select star from this table. Now we want to create the store procedure. Let's say we want to create the store procedure proc A. We just have that view, select star from that view on this store procedure. So basically, we create a table, insert some data, and we create view, and then that view will be displayed through the store procedure. That is what we have done as of now. Now on the grant permission, we are now the step is to grant permission to user B. We are giving the grant permission only for view, select permission for view to user B. So we are giving select permission for view, and we also want to give the execute permission proc1 execute permission for user B. Now what we want to do is I want to have the user B to execute that store procedure. So basically, in order to execute this store procedure, this user B also actually need the select permission for table, because in this store procedure we are basically selecting the view, and the view is nothing but the table. So he's supposed to also need select permission to the table. User B would need the select permission to the table. However, because of the ownership chaining, it is not necessary, because this product or this object was created by one owner. That is why we have the select permission. We give the select permission on view and execute permission to the store procedure. Now he does not require select permission on table. He can, as a user B, is able to execute this store procedure. If I execute this store procedure, it will see the data. So this is what the ownership chaining is. This is all I wanted to cover. So basically what we covered here is, if there is multiple object created by one owner, and then if you grant one access, the user can view able to view some other. So this is tricky. We have to be careful on some cases. This is all about ownership chaining. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.